Last week it was decided that all the Central Falls teachers were on the way out the door. Now there's talk, though, from both sides of the dispute that they may talk to each other to iron out their differences.
Been more than 80 other teachers dismissed from the failing high school, where a high number of students drop out and only a small percentage are proficient in math or reading.
Language barriers, absentee rates as well. The superintendent says when compromise failed, the state's requirement gave her no other choice.
When I was 14, they divorced, and that's when my mom decided to come to the United States. And I was the only girl in the house, and I had to do everything and go to school at the same time. Well, I had to do laundry and cook and clean the house and everything. It is a lot of responsibility, and I had to go to school at the same time, and that's why my grades were dropped at freshman and sophomore year. That was a hard time for me.
Lanira Montiero, like many students in Central Falls, Rhode Island, is a recent immigrant to the United States. Unlike Lanira, Dolores Grant has lived in Central Falls most of her life.
I attended Central Falls High School, junior-senior high school, from 7th grade to 12th grade. And I remember entering the 7th grade, I was so excited to be at the high school. It was my dream to be with my older sisters and to join the Glee Club and do drama. So going to Central Falls High School, it just had such an impact on my future, on my life. There were so many things that I wanted to do when I went to Central Falls High School. I wanted to follow in the footsteps of my two older sisters. So it was a wonderful experience.
I was born in Colombia, South America, and I arrived when I was 11 years old. I originally landed in New York, did half a year there in school, then to Connecticut for 1 year, and then in 9th grade I started at Central Falls High School. Went all 4 years and graduated from Central Falls, and despite the fact that it was not likely that I would go to college, I did, and I ended up here at Rhode Island College.
Well, I have a sister in Portugal. She went to study there to go to college, and she still lived there. I have one more sister in Cape Verde and 3 brothers from my mom's side. I couldn't wait to come to the United States, to come to live with my mom, because I was so close to her, and I missed her. When I came to the United States, I looked back and I said to myself, wow, Lanira, you have grown up so much and you're more mature now, and I'm gonna do everything, because my mom went through a lot of stuff when she came here, and I promised myself that I would make her happy and I would make her proud of me. I know that a lot of parents go through so much in this country to bring their kids here, because it's a country with a lot of opportunities, and a lot of them don't go to school and they don't go to college. I want to make her proud of me and make her feel like it was worth it, and I want to go to college.
I originally went to Rhode Island College for anthropology and archaeology. Then I changed my major a few times, and then finally I got an English degree. I was very happy with it. And I worked as a behavior specialist for 9 years. Then I realized I want to teach. And I don't want to just teach anywhere. I want to teach at Central Falls High School. That's the only place I ever wanted to teach. And I knew the one thing that motivated me to want to teach is that I was exposed to teaching for a summer through the Upward Bound program. I was given the opportunity to teach a study skills class, and I felt like I was bitten by the bug. And I knew that I really wanted to be in the classroom, so I ended up going back to school and getting a master's of Art in Teaching, and it was a thrilling moment for me when I finally got that paper in my hand that said that I was going to be a teacher, and I knew that I was going to be an English teacher at Central Falls High School.
Central Falls, Rhode Island was once the most densely populated city in America. Once a manufacturing hub that produced everything from textiles to chocolate, Central Falls has always been a haven for immigrants from all parts of the world. For the manufacturers, the immigrants were welcomed as they often brought with them the skills needed to keep the factories running. Sitting on a plot of land only slightly larger than 1 square mile, Central Falls has seen its share of booms and busts.
Most of the families in my country raise their kids to be respectful and to believe that education is the most important thing. I feel like I have to go to school to be what I want to be in the future. And my mom has always said to me that go to school because we didn't have the opportunity that you have. So just make sure you value what you have.
Right.
Often there's the desire for continued education, but for many new to the system, applying to college can be an overly complex task.
I always make sure I am working hard enough. I always get A's in my classes.
College seems even more distant for students whose parents have never navigated the system.
My mom is very smart, but she went to school when she was young, but she didn't have an opportunity to keep going to school because it was very, very expensive. And the first day I walked into my English class, I was scared not to get a good grade and pass that class. And my teacher said, the ones of you who think you're gonna get A's in this class, you're not. And I said, wow, I'm gonna prove you wrong. And I got 98 in his class, the highest grade. So I felt proud of myself. And that was like the biggest proof to me that I can do it.
Half of all children in Central Falls live in single-parent homes.
Go.
Nothing is easy. You're not gonna get anything easy in life. But whatever comes to your way, you gotta deal with it and keep going. Believe in yourself that you can do it. Believe in God, and if you have the support of your family, you can do everything.
I was sitting basically ready to start teaching, but with a tremendous fear. And I thought, I don't know if I'm ready. And right when that was happening, all the teachers in Central Falls High School got fired.
We talked about tutoring students for an hour a week. We talked about trying to establish more of a relationship with students, perhaps visiting their homes, but at least once a week having lunch with the students down in the cafeteria. And for the most part, the teachers who came to those meetings were willing to do that. especially if they thought that was going to avoid any kind of serious confrontation. But deep down I knew that eventually we had to actually negotiate. And when you negotiate, you don't actually negotiate with your faculty as a body. You negotiate with union leadership. Union leadership had not been attending those meetings. Union leadership had been turning me away every time I made the overture. And so I knew we were heading into trouble.
I never wanted to teach anywhere else other than Central Falls High School. However, the only time that it ever went through my head to teach anywhere else is when I was fired from the high school. And I thought to myself, if I can't teach here, what am I going to do? And then I realized maybe I won't teach anywhere.
I called my mentor at Brown, Dr. Lassiter, and I said, you know, Dr. Lassiter, I have this huge dilemma. Can I ask you something? He said, of course. And I said, you know, look, I have this problem. I got offered a job at Central Falls, but I'm not sure I can take it. And then I said, you know, look, I don't know if I'm ready to leave the job, and I don't know if I'm going to be good at it. And he said, all right, so what's your dilemma? I thought, oh, he missed it. All right, Dr. Lassiter, so what I'm saying is, he says, no, I heard what you said. What's your dilemma? I said, what do you mean? I just told you. He said, no. You want my blessing? You know what you got to do. Call your supervisor now and let her know that in 2 weeks you're going to be teaching in Central Falls.
We began the formal negotiations. We met a few times. We talked about what it would take. We talked about the kinds of things I was asking for. And no matter what I asked for, it was turned into a dollar amount. At the negotiating table, we failed miserably to reach consensus. And lo and behold, I have 4 choices. We close the school, we turn it over to a charter, we transform the school, or we decide that we're going to fire everybody and reopen. Those were our 4 choices. Well, there was no way we were going to close the school. It's our only high school. We didn't want to turn it over to a charter, but I sought charters because I thought even that would be better than failing miserably. Leaving us 2 choices, I kept pressing on the union that we wanted transformation, that we could do this in a transformative manner together. One morning, from a long-standing previous engagement, the union leadership, Mr. Parisi and I, were scheduled to be on Tim White's television show. In less than a minute to go on for that show, Mr. Parisi said, I just told Tim White that we're not going to agree to this. And so I looked at him and I thought, but if we don't agree, then I have nothing left to do but to fire the teachers and start over. And so, you know, it's very much like the setting I'm in now. I sit down, they put a mic, there's a lot of flashing television things going on, and I'm meeting Mr. White, and he says, I'm going to start with you, Dr. Gallo. What are the headlines going to be tomorrow morning? So I said, well, it's going to be very clear that we're going to fire the teachers in Central Falls. That was the moment. That's how it happened. And it was unfortunate because truly the teachers who had been coming on that regular basis for so many months understood and knew, and most of them were willing to do this work, but had no idea that their union leadership wasn't going to allow that.
I started teaching in Central Falls in the fall of 2010, and I've been there ever since.
I never realized what an emotional impact it would have on my life personally, being fired from my job, because I thought I did everything right. I felt that I went to work every day, always wanting the best for my students. I felt like I gave 100%, so I never understood why I was being fired. And I never thought that I would be standing in the auditorium waiting for my name to be called to tell me that I was no longer employed.
We talk about collaboration, but then we hold a rally like this, in front of the Board of Regents. I don't know what what anyone really wants to gain at this point in time. Families were torn by the comments that were being made, and other faculty were getting in front of a camera and saying, parents don't care. Well, that's not what I knew. Parents do care. Parents did care then, and they care even more now.
Fran Gallo, the superintendent, is a very action-oriented person. She thinks a lot about things, but then she does not hesitate to act. Academics think a lot about things, and we take a longer time to act. Fran doesn't have the time. The district doesn't have the time. The kids don't have the time. And that's why it has moved. I think we all see that there are children's futures at stake.
Everybody had heard about the Central Falls School District, and it had even been on the lips of the President Obama as something that had been going through some very difficult times and some real disruption in the relationship between administration and teachers. It was certainly identified as a small school district, underperforming, with lots and lots of challenges.
And there's got to be a sense of accountability. And that's what happened in Rhode Island last week at a chronically troubled school when just 7% of 11th graders passed state math tests. 7%. When a school board wasn't able to deliver change by other means, they voted to lay off the faculty and the staff.
In May of 2010, the union and the administration reached a deal, and the teachers were welcomed back. Over the next 4 years, thanks to a commitment by the administration, faculty, and staff, student performance would increase.
I think my teachers are supportive. I get along with all of them, and they're there for me whenever I need help, extra help after school, before school, and I think they're very supportive, and they help who want to get help.
Definition, what do you think it falls under? Exactly. Oh my God, you're going to be a psychologist.
I am.
Okay, this is your first step. All right, so you put that one there. Can you give me the definition?
Back home, it's a poor country, and school is not like here. They have a different system of education, but one thing that we do value education. Like, we might be poor and everything, but we do value education. I'm worried about my portfolios, but my kneecap, I just got the results and I improved, so that's not an obstacle for my graduation. I'm just worried about my portfolios because I need 25 and I just have 16 from the ones from last year. But I know that I'm doing good because I never failed one of them. But I'm just worried to get them on time, like, because they expect me to get in 2 years what they expect other students to get in 3, 4 years. So I know that I'm working hard. The only thing is I'm worried to not get them on time. It is a lot of work, but I'm willing to go on vacation and after school, before school, anything it takes for me to graduate this year. After I graduate, I want to go to college and I want to become a psychologist.
In December of 2012, Fran Gallo reached out to Rhode Island College. Her goal was to establish a partnership and to build what would become known as the Rhode Island College and Central Falls Innovation Lab.
Something had to change. Obviously, Dr. Gallo said, you know, I'm going to change this. And then you know, from there, I think that probably did open the door. One of probably many things that opened the door. I think she also brought in people, or people came to the top who were those people who were really supportive and wonderful there. And, you know, a couple of those folks are now in leadership positions at Central Falls High School.
As president of RIC, I think the history of the Central Falls Rhode Island College Innovation Lab really goes back to the early 1990s, when I was the director of the Office of School College Relations for the New England Association of Schools and Colleges, our accrediting association. And as part of my job, I set up school-college partnerships all over New England. And it was during that period that I met Fran Gallo, who is now the superintendent of Central Falls. And so that's really what started it all. I can't say that I take great credit for what's happened more recently, because it really has taken off, and the faculty and the professional staff and administrators at both institutions have really carried on from there. But the roots really go back to the 1990s, when I was doing school-college partnerships.
It started by the superintendent of Central Falls School District, Fran Gallo, approaching the college and saying that she had an idea for a collaboration. So I sat down with her, with the then Dean of the School of Education, not knowing what she was going to be proposing. And she came forth with a very modest proposal. She wanted the lab, the entire school district, to become a lab of the college.
The Innovation Lab is a collaboration that allows faculty and administrators from both Rhode Island College and Central Falls to propose projects that would help the students and hopefully community members of Central Falls realize the importance of a college education, while also allowing for learning opportunities for everyone involved.
There's no model to follow for this one. You know, it would be really nice if I could open one of those academic journals and it's spelled out, first you do this, next you do this, next you do this, and we're writing that.
Most important to this initiative, I would say, is the commitment from both partners.
I think Fran Gallo and Nancy Cariolo coming together and deciding that this is something that was important to both of them personally as well as professionally and institutionally made all the difference in the world. So we were given the opportunity to collaborate, to meet, to plan. So I think that the commitment at all levels of the institution has made it possible.
We've approached this as the beginning of a long-term, extended relationship where we will do whatever we can with them to build not only the school district, but the community as a whole.
I think that's one of the pieces that I've had, and why I think we're having a lot of the success is because we have been able to really look at so many different pieces that were all moving and all in action at the same time. And how do you take from each one to bring it together to create what we have today? And really what we have today is, I think we've created the conditions to be able to do the work.
If I personally can do a tiny, tiny bit to move the needle, to make it better for even one person, then that's what I want to do. And so far as I'm concerned, that's what this project gives all of us an opportunity to do.
I think out of the Innovation Lab, the thing that has impressed me most is to see the passion and dedication and skill sets of the teachers that are working with the Central Falls students. It's so impressive. And it's so anti the public attitude of the urban teachers that are working in that district. I wish they knew who those teachers really are, because they're absolutely spectacular.
The Innovation Lab is more than teacher training. Many of the programs focus on the need for more social workers in Central Falls, aquatic therapy for special needs students, financial literacy for parents, and weekly visits by Central Falls High School students to Rhode Island College. The dream is to have every graduating senior go to college.
Last summer, in summer of 2013, myself and Jerry August, my colleague here at Rhode Island College, asked for a meeting with Fran Gallo, the superintendent, who I had already been meeting with because I was already part of the Innovation Lab, and Josh LaPlante, the principal at the high school. And we just wanted to have a meeting to start discussing the possibility of me teaching one of my classes out at Central Falls High School in the spring of 2014.
Their semester. And
This was coming out of a national report that came out of our teacher accreditation program called NCATE. They did a blue ribbon panel really pushing people to think about how we can clinically train teachers out in the field using the medical model, and really the idea of doing rounds and being out in the field and leaving the college setting. By the end of that meeting, we were starting in the fall of 2013. We were gifted a bus once a week, or at that point it was actually twice a week, to pick up our students in the course at Rhode Island College, drive out to Central Falls, teach the class out there, and then come back. And through that one meeting, we decided that I was going to teach backwards standing on the bus, and we would do our observations out in the field, and we really weren't sure what we were getting ourselves into.
So I think students and parents in Central Falls know that there has been a lot of work done to really create opportunities at Central Falls High School, that when their children come to Central Falls High School, they will find a place where their children can succeed. They will find people that will care about them, that will push them, that will hold them accountable, but will support them all along the way.
We're looking at the Rhode Island College Teacher Preparation Program as one area of high impact. So we invite prospective teachers into our school to learn about education through the eyes of educators, students, administrators, their parents, and other support and community members. I think it offers a unique opportunity for prospective teachers to gain a great insight, not only by learning about theory, but seeing theory in practice, hearing the words that students express when they're walking down the halls, or the in-depth conversation that happens in a classroom.
So the majority of the class, they were simply sitting at laptops that had been brought in from a cart. And they were working on their portfolios, and the teacher was going around, coaching them, helping them out.
Another reason we wanted to be a part of the Central Falls RIC Innovation Lab is that our students need opportunities where they can practice directly with people and engage in the skills they're going to use in their practice once they graduate.
What kind of things are you going to see? When you are giving a presentation, everybody will be assessing you, so everybody will be.
It turned out that it was one of the best teaching experiences I've ever had in my life. This is my 14th year in higher ed, so it was incredible.
They weren't very engaged. They all had their computers and the teachers walking around. But then when the second class came in, it kind of took a while to get them settled, and they weren't.
What kind of questions were you hearing?
I really didn't take note of that, but it was...
And Nathan can help you with this one.
The students something harder and more challenging, and that may lead to more frustration. So we really need to remain very, very curious about our students.
The idea is that we have elementary and secondary education as part of one system. Higher education is part of another system. Graduate school past the senior year as yet sort of another part of the system. But there's no reason they have to be separate. They really ought to be part of the same continuum. And it should be natural for students to go through grade school and middle school and high school into college and not have it be suddenly a whole new world. We should understand each other. We should understand what students are learning and facing in K-12, and we should be prepared to help them learn and achieve when they get to higher education, and vice versa. So we're trying to dissolve that artificial distinction between higher ed and K-12. So that's the idea of K-20, and it goes up beyond, because now we're talking about graduate students also being involved and learning in the Central Falls Partnership.
Was she able to articulate why it didn't work?
Like, I know that this is something the school has to do, but I have not had my own thoughts on that one yet. I'm not immersed into that. So.
Once we got out into the field, we were met by the superintendent, Josh, and Kim Cataldo, who's the 5th person who's working on the project. And we observed classes, we debriefed, we met parents. One of the greatest days was all of our students in that course paired up with parents and went and observed classrooms together to really discuss what they were seeing of their students, their kids, their teachers.
Conclusion based on an observation.
Like I need guidance counseling with
Our students are benefiting as much as the folks in Central Falls are benefiting, and they're seeing things and having opportunities to learn that they would never ever have otherwise. So I think that's something that sometimes when people hear about the Innovation Lab, initially say when you're describing it to someone, the initial perception is, oh, Rick is going to go in and fix Central Falls. And no, Rick is not going to go in and fix Central Falls. Together, they are going to make themselves and each other better. And I think that's a really profound difference.
And now Dr. Rudy Kraus, who teaches that course, is teaching on the bus. And we're trying to figure out how we can do this through the entire program. We also have somebody in elementary education, Martha Horn, has also been given a bus from the district, and twice a week her elementary ed students are going out and observing and teaching in a kindergarten class. And next fall, Whitney Blankenship, who is teaching our history ed program, her practicum class is going to be, I'm not sure if they're using the bus or not, but they're going to be out in the field doing the same thing.
I just think there's no better place to learn than in real life. And I'm hoping that we're giving that opportunity for the RIC interns to work with our students on a daily basis.
I personally haven't seen anything like it before. I guess because the connection of the whole school district and the whole of Rhode Island College. Normally it might be a class, or it might be a department, or it might be a program, or you know, maybe even a school of education, but I don't think I've even seen that. So I think that's the big thing, is the scope of it. I mean, when you have social work and you have education, you have all these different people coming together, I think that's what's really unique and interesting.
She would be disappointed if I didn't graduate, but that's not an option to me, not to graduate. I know that I can. If I feel like I'm not gonna get it, I won't graduate this year, I will tell her. But I know that she knows that I'm doing my best.
So today I want to talk about something very, very important to me, which is the Cape Verdean Student Association. I absolutely love it. I am the president, and a lot of great things has happened to me after I became the president. I feel like now we have a stronger voice in the school community. It's fun to know about your culture and to learn more each day. It's a great feeling to know that you're helping other people, that you're inspiring them to do good in school and in whatever. And I try to give it my all. And that's it.
I don't think she should be easier. To me, what she expects from me, it's enough. Like, I know that she went through a lot, and I know that it's not so much to expect for your kid to do good in school if you've done a lot for them.
So now we're going to a field trip to Rhode Island College. We're going to visit the library and the special collection of Cape Verdean books. We're going with the Portuguese ELO and the Cape Verdean Student Association. I'm so excited. This is my trivida friend, Eline. That's my friend, Nelson. Hi, Nelson. Say hi.
If it was me, I would expect my kid to do good in school if I struggle a lot to give them what they have.
The experience here has been amazing. We have a very rich culture in the city of Central Falls. In 1 square mile, there's a vast culture, an exciting culture, but within the school district, there's a real family and a sense of community. We know each other, we know the kids, we know the families, and it's been an amazing experience. It truly has. I wouldn't choose to be anywhere else.
you're all settled, we'll come back so I can say hello to you. How's that?
So I remember coming into this district in my first year saying, is she sure she's going to do that? Wow, that's something I've never heard of. But that's why we are where we are today. And I was a teacher before I was an administrator. And I felt that way as a teacher. And I would constantly send her emails and tell her about these things and how I felt as a teacher. And so being an administrator, I've kind of seen both sides of it. Within our superintendent, there is the courage. And I'm never surprised at some of the actions and the bold stances that she takes. And sometimes I'm a little nervous for her when I think of these things, but it's exactly that which has propelled this school district into the places that it's going. I mean, we are moving forward in many great ways and accomplishing many great things every day.
My whole philosophy as an educator is to empower the learner. And I'm continuing, I know everybody says the constant learner, you know, that's what we're supposed to be, that's our vision. But that really is who I am. I was a very slow learner when I was in school.
You should go back and check and make sure.
I was in the 6th grade before I learned to read. And so it was a struggle. And my whole determination is to make everyone's life as powerful as possible through reading, writing, and arithmetic. When you can read, you can do anything. And our challenge has always been, how do we move forward? How do we create change and not be afraid of it? Because that's what this world is all about. It's changing so rapidly. Our children have to know how to deal with that.
We're big fans of the hands-on side.
Yes, me too.
We like it a lot.
Excellent.
We always look forward to having an experiment and an investigation to go along with our learning, right?
Very good. We have a class downstairs that's blogging with another class at the college, at Rhode Island College. And I walk in and I say, oh, teach me, because I don't do any of this. And there are those 5th graders talking to me about blogging and what it means and what they're learning. That's what this is all about. It's about empowering each individual to take charge of their lives and move forward. The Innovation Lab was just a thought. I can't even say it was a dream because I didn't dare dream it. We just thought of it, and it had to be shared to be a real dream. And once that took form, and we began with just a simple yes, let's give it a try, we rolled up our sleeves. We have over 20 really close collaborating partnerships that have just blossomed. It's the melding of the college into Central Falls and vice versa, so that our students know they are going on to college, and college is coming here. Our future teachers are coming here and understanding and getting excited about what it really means to teach, and not to be afraid of, quote, the urban environment. There's nothing to fear. Children are children, whether they're in the most elite of the suburbs or they're here in Central Falls. They're children, they deserve that dream. And by putting it all together, it's been outstanding, a real exciting time.
So this year at the middle school, we've enjoyed interns from Rhode Island College who have supported our school social workers, our school psychologists. Our students have also benefited. We enjoy a pen pal relationship with Rhode Island College, where students in grade 6 and in some other grades throughout the building have enjoyed this relationship of being able to write to a professor and ask those questions about college and their life and what it is that they do, and the excitement when they receive a letter in return. In May, in a few weeks actually, coming up, we will be visiting the Rhode Island College campus with a group of our students who will just go to the campus to see what it's all about. I think those, the visits, the relationship with Rhode Island College is just helping us to do what we've always done, which is to prepare our students for college at every level, exposing them earlier and earlier so that they begin to prepare. Hello. We were just visiting.
We're so glad that you just came back.
Yeah, we just came back from swim.
Oh.
We go to Rhode Island College for swim, and we go every other Friday. Today was the first Friday back since the fall, and they absolutely enjoy it. Elvar, who is a student who's out right now,
He has limited mobility, so he does a really good job walking around the pool, so we see a lot of motor and some good strength coming from him. Pedro loves the pool. He loves to swim. He goes on his stomach and his back. Peter loves it. He uses the noodles in the pool. And Natalie does really well. Do a lot of counting and songs and things in the pool at the same time as doing some physical swim, kicking. So it's great.
When the partnership began, first thing we asked was, is there a time when we can fit in? And when they said yes, it was so exciting because our children need that therapy. And it was really, really just phenomenal to get us all back at the pool.
One of my very first days out there last semester, Victor introduced me, said, wait, I want you to meet this girl. And she just happened to be walking by, Evelyn just happened to be walking by, and she came over to me and said, you know, we were introduced, you're a professor at RIC? Yeah. You want to go to RIC? Yeah. What department? I want to be a secondary ed teacher. Let me give you my card. You know, and now I know that eventually in the next few years, she's going to be in one of my classes, hopefully in my class that I teach at Central Falls. And she can be there teaching in her community.
College is important for me because ever since I was in elementary school, you know, my parents have always put that idea in my mind that, you know, you have to better yourself and, you know, your education is what's going to get you far in life. And I've always been an honors kid and I've always worked hard in school. So, you know, for me to, you know, just graduate high school and not go to college, it's just not an option. We build relationships and bond with our teachers that I don't think a lot of other people in other places do. You know, they're literally there. Whether you want them to be there or not, they're pushing you to do your work and succeed. No matter what life puts me through, I will always get back up and I will always do my best to be the person that I want to be. And I don't care what anybody says. I'm a great person, and I'm meant for greatness. In my life, there's been a lot of moments where I felt a lot of stress and like everything is coming down on me. And when I feel like that, the best thing for me to do is just go out and just run. It's always been a passion of mine to just forget about everything and just run as fast as you can and just keep going until you can't anymore. And lately, a lot of things have been coming down on me. The stresses of senior year, work, relationships, everything. And I think it's time that for the first time in like 7 months, I'm gonna go out for a run just to forget about everything and just worry about me.
Every student comes to me with unique issues, but I see the underlying theme is poverty and not having the resources. And that can affect your learning, your ability to learn and focus. When you've survived multiple traumas that are continually occurring, there is not an end to them in the foreseeable future, it limits your ability to be successful.
Central Falls is in a very unique spot. It is America. It is wave after wave after wave of immigration coming through. The history of Central Falls is the history of America, as far as I'm concerned.
I've learned that they don't give up. I've learned that even when they're faced with endless challenges that would seem extremely overwhelming to many people, including myself, they find a way to fight through those challenges and fulfill their dreams.
I think it's just perseverance. I've learned a lot of Spanish, I'll be honest, I have, and I love it, I do. I often try to interact on that level at times. I'm not very good at it, but the cultural differences that I've learned, I think I've always respected, but I've learned so much more about on an individual level. I think that's what's so great about Central Falls. Like I can name specific students where I know exactly where they came from. I know the challenges they faced. I know what their parents do, and it really is like a family.
How are we managing our class structure to be sure that students are still working toward this high expectation through a level that's more creative and innovative, which puts a lot of pressure on the educator in the sense that you need to know your students and you need to understand and appreciate their background and experiences, not utilizing that as an excuse for preventing learning, but utilizing it as a way of developing your instruction and your practice to support learning.
I'm the point person between students, teachers, and community partners, so almost a matchmaker to make learning happen. So if a student comes to me and says, I want to study astrophysics, or I want to work in a salon, or I want to become a physical therapist, I work with them to find a teacher that can support their study as well as a community person. They then design their own course, which they can get academic credit for. So that will be an individual ELO. We have group ELOs where whole groups of students will work together to design a class and get credit for it. And then we'll bring community partners to collaborate with teachers during the school day.
Some of the things that Central Falls High School does to help students is they do a lot of after-school programs. They have a person that you can go to if you need tutoring. It's a person that's working on an extended learning opportunity. And let's say if you want to, let's say for example for me, I want to be a lawyer, so I have a free period every single day, and I'm working with the ELO coordinator, and she helps me to intern a lawyer at a law firm. Like they get you like extra support if you need it. Or they do a lot of professional development, which helps the teachers like know when you need help, like reach out to you if you need help.
There is a lot when we start listing all the projects and what's happening and what we're trying to do. It works because there's complete commitment. Everything that I've read on partnerships, all the research that I've done says, you know, the biggest roadblock is administration. And we don't have that roadblock here, either at Rhode Island College or at Central Falls. You know, our administration on both sides is behind us 100% and giving whatever little resources they can, but also just giving commitment to it.
Succession planning is very important, because very often you have a person who's the driver in these partnerships. That person goes away for some reason and everything just falls apart. What's really wonderful about this partnership is that if we go away, it really doesn't matter, because there's so many other people at different stages in their career that are very invested in this partnership and this relationship and seeing it go forward.
Even if you were unsure about this partnership or what your role might be, if you go attend one meeting in Central Falls or you speak to one student or one parent, you're bought in immediately. You know that the work that you're going to be doing is valuable and will have a lasting impact.
The ideal would be a student that embraces his or her culture and also that is able to go into the host culture, meaning the United States culture, smoothly, and that is able to navigate in between cultures better. That being said, I truly believe that the American dream is actually a bilingual dream. It's better dreamt in 2 languages, at least 2 languages, if not more.
The students are special to me because we share something in common. I lived in that city. I went to that high school. I shared some of the same thoughts, some of the same feelings. My home was the same as theirs. I came from poverty.
Our students come to school, and some of our most challenging students behaviorally come to school every day. Well, there's a reason why they're coming to school. They may behave in a sense that they don't want to be there, but they're coming every day. And it's not just because we're giving them lunch or breakfast, it's because it's a safe place for them to be, because they know that there are people there who care about them. And in this profession, you may go 3 weeks and start questioning why you're doing what you're doing, but it takes one student, one moment to say one thing, and you remember, okay, I know why I'm here today, and I know why I will be back tomorrow.
Yeah, I got accepted to Rhode Island College. That's where I want to go. So happy, so excited. Eleni.
Thank you.
It's hard to come to school in a bad mood and leave in a bad mood because we run into students that just make us laugh, make us believe in them, and in so doing, we believe in ourselves.
For our community to be able to have the presence of a higher education institution right there in Central Falls, that I think is the great promise of this innovation lab, that you will be able to make that kind of an impact that benefits both Central Falls and Rhode Island College.
This remarkable warrior has earned a great deal of respect, not only in the Cape Verde community, but in the local and state community as a voice of power, reason, and inspiration. On behalf of Central Falls High School, I want to thank you, Mr. Lanier Terrell.
The best part of graduation for me was getting the principal's award. I wasn't expecting it. And when he started talking about the Cape Verdean community, I realized it was me. So I was proud. And I wasn't expecting it. I was very surprised. When I came into school, the challenges were the language, the culture, and everything else. But most importantly, the group of friends that I didn't have. I didn't know anybody, but then my senior year, when I started the Cape Verdean Student Association, was when everything got better, and now I don't want to leave. Well, my plans is to attend here in Rhode Island College next fall, and I plan on doing psychology. So I'm like good giving people advice, and I want to help people deal with their problems, because I know when I had my problems, I had people in Central Falls and Cape Verde that helped me cope through them, and I want to help other people to make sure people make great choices in life.
If you believe that a community's strength is in the capacity of its citizens, we are building that in the school system, in the district itself, in that community, and in our own community. This partnership allows us to see possibilities that we just never had considered before.